Good day everyone, I'm Ria Kassandra Lagat from G12 ARCHIMEDES and this is my work immersion presentation. I'm going to share my experiences on legislative building at Trece Martires City. Here are some information that you might want to know about my 10-day work immersion at Legislative Building. Number 1 is that Mrs. Connie oriented me together with my fellow trainees at Provincial Library. Number 2, I was held by Mr. Reynaldo Galit and Mr. Daniel Estrella under the office of the Provincial Board member. And lastly, this is the 3 main highlight of my 10-day work immersion. They assigned me to organize, pass, and encode important files. As I've mentioned earlier, these are my main highlights of my 10-day work immersion, which includes passing, organizing, and encoding. First is passing. I was assigned to pass documents from Human Resources Management Office, or what we called HRMO. Not just HRMO Office, but GSO, SWD, Accounting Office, Treasurer's Office, and PDRRMO. First day of passing a document, it made my feet hurt because I have to walk from my office into the mentioned offices. But for me, I realized that this is challenging and memorable. I am lucky because on my first day, they trusted me to pass this document, so I gained their trust. This is where I go most of the time because I have to pass files like clearance and receipts. My 10-day work immersion, Mr. Galit was not the only one who assigned me to pass documents, but Mr. Daniel, Mrs. Curly, Mrs. Cindy, and Mrs. Maria. Not just documents but payments also. One of the most challenging experience here was waiting for the document to sign for more than 1 hour at the finance building. This happened due to the checking of reports and payments before signing the document. For me, this is a great opportunity because I am being immersed on something. This picture was taken on my way to finance building and waited there for 1 hour. Second experience was organizing. During my free time, I organize papers. I separate those important and not. With the help of organizing, it can free up some space in Mr. Galit's table and he could identify the important and scratch papers easily. This is a time wherein I unstaple his work papers and dispose those who aren't needed. I asked Mr. Galit's consent before separating it. I unstapled more than 100 work papers that time. I also stapled documents like their employees' personal data sheets. Mrs. Gurley taught me how to organize this kind of documents. I also scanned IPCR targets monthly. IPCR means Individual Performance and Commitment Review. Mr. Daniel told me that IPCR helps employees to know where they failed or what they need to improve to their working skills. I also Xerox papers when an office requests a copy of it. The last part of my highlight is encoding. For me, this is the hardest part of my 10 days work immersion because I am not familiar with their computer and I am not good on encoding documents. But with the help of my supervisors, I was able to encode and scan files faster and easier. This picture was taken on the 14th day of February 2023. So this is me struggling on where to find the file that I'm looking for. Before I end on my 10 days work immersion at Legislative Building, Mrs. Connie evaluated me and asked me how was I doing. Do I have memorable experiences here? Was my supervisor good? Because she said I am their Unica Iha at OPBM. We talked for 30 minutes and before I left, she said this thing that made me realize that this 10-day work immersion really helped me. She said, "It doesn't mean that you are deployed at Legislative Building and not in Engineering's office. Means this is not related to your strand. Remember, organizing, passing, and encoding files is also the job of an engineer." And that's my experiences within the 10 days work immersion at Trece Martires City. Thank you for watching and listening. Again, have a good day.